Wow, that sound was annoying. Hi, my name is Minister Carmen Elena.
And I'm Minister Jerry Woody Jr., and we're here to discuss Proverbs 27:15. A quarrelsome wife is like a dripping of a leaking roof in the rainstorm. Let's talk about this.
Sure. Drip, drip, drip. Proverbs 27:15 to 16. A nagging spouse is like the drip, drip, drip of a leaky faucet. You can't turn it off and you can't get away from it. In ancient times, dripping water was so awful that it was used as a form of torture. Imagine that. The first record of it was back in the 16th century. Victims were strapped down so that they could not move, and cold water was then dripped slowly on a small area of the body. The forehead was found to be the most suitable point for this form of torture. Prisoners could see each drop coming and were gradually driven frantic. Nagging is likened to a dripping water, and just like it tortured prisoners, it can torture our husband and create a rift in our marriages. So today I want to bring a few things to your attention and give you ways to build your husband with words of instead of tearing him down. Number one, be polite. There's a difference between asking your husband to do something and nagging him to do something. Nagging is defined as a complaint, to be persistent source of annoyance or distraction, to irritate by constant scolding or urging. When we need to ask our husband for help, talk to him about something that bothers us or address them about whatever it may be, we need to say it politely. You can be polite and a nag at the same time. You could say it with love.
Mm-hmm.
Speak in a nice tone. Tone is
Yes.
very important.
Yes, it
The
is.
tone you can use really makes a difference in the way you come across. Talk to your spouse like you would talk to your boss or a friend. Unfortunately, a lot of times we talk to our, strangers or people that we know better than we talk to our own
Much nicer than we
spouses.
talk with one another, yes.
Yes,
We take one
so
another for granted.
so exactly. So talk to your husband just like you would talk to a friend or a boss. Talk to them with respect, and your husband will respond better if you do these things. Also, pick your battles because every discussion does not have to be a long, drawn out discussion. Learn and agree to let some things go
Yes.
and give them the benefit of the doubt. That expression, we hear it a lot, but we don't really think about the actual meaning. A benefit is a gift, and doubt is unbelief. So when you give someone the benefit of doubt, you're giving them the gift of not believing. You're saying, I believe you didn't do that or you didn't know to do that.
And that would be appreciated both ways.
Yeah,
It goes a long way.
it does. And just to think that you never think of, you hear that phrase a lot, give him the benefit of the doubt or
Mm-hmm.
give them the benefit of the doubt, but to think that the benefit is a gift.
Yes. And here we're going to look at some illustrations. Okay. Let's start with the illustration with the man with his fingers in his ears and he's not hearing what his wife is saying to him. At that point, he don't want to hear it because he can't take it. Let's look at the other illustration underneath that one, where the man is running from his wife. He's look like it's like he's out of there. He don't want to hear anything she has to say.
He's running real quick.
And let's look at the other young man who's sitting on the yellow sofa. She looked like she's really letting him have it, and she's blasting him that he had to just protect his mental state of mind, and he just became unconscious and checked out. He's out of there.
And you look at her face, she's like, she looked like she had it. She's frantic.
And maybe we take one more. We look at the woman, and she's speaking words into her husband's ear, and she's telling him, maybe you're not listening to me, you never do what I ask you, or etc. And the other end of that, all he hears is like the Charlie Brown school teacher. And you remember that school teacher? The school teacher would be talking, and all you would hear was
Blah, blah,
quack,
blah,
quack, quack,
blah,
quack, quack,
blah.
quack. And that's what I'm pretty sure that man is hearing right now.
Yeah, because she's actually saying words, but all he's hearing is blah, 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 blah. And look at the man with the yellow top. He's talking and she's really looking at him intensively into his eyes. He's giving her no eye contact. He looked like he's upset. He's probably rolling the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, you could be nagging or saying something or repeating something, but the other individual is just not listening.
No, he's gone.
So it's not effective communication. And then with the picture with the woman pointing at him, even with the way we are, our body language, our gestures, what we do with our hands pointing, people, in anyone, if someone is pointing the finger of you, you get defensive. So the communication is not going anywhere. And look at the picture where the woman with the red dress, and you can see obviously that she looks like she's just way over him, towering over him. So how at that point, while she's nagging, it might make him feel like belittled and so
definitely.
small, and probably regressing and going back to his child, whatever. But you can see the illustration about what nagging does and makes sometimes a husband, or not even sometimes, how it will make an individual feel.
Behind every nagging woman, there's a man not doing what he's supposed to do.
So if you look at all this, we see the women that are nagging the husbands, but in that illustration, could it be also that behind every nagging woman, like Jerry just read, is a man that's not doing what he's supposed to do? So if he was doing what he needed to do, maybe, just maybe, she wouldn't have had the need to nag.
Yes.
Now, negative behavior or acts are acts of sinful nature, because we see how there's anger, there's nagging, speaking in contempt or shaming publicly, whether man or woman. You're speaking in contempt to someone. That means that you're angry, you're upset. It's an act of our sinful nature when we're angry and we have no self-control. Right. The definition of nagging itself is a person constantly what? Harassing someone to do something. And when I was reading this, I was like, wow, I never saw nagging that way. As far as the example is, I want to get away from my nagging parents. Anyone can nag. A parent can nag a child, and the child's like, I can't take it. It's torture. I want to run away. So it's similar to complaining, criticizing,
grumbling, finding fault, moaning, to torment a persistence, as with anxiety or pain.
Because, when you hear about that, who wants to be around someone who's criticizing or grumbling or repeating and persistently painful or worrying, a nagging pain? Like, oh my God, you ever heard of that phrase? Oh my God, he's a pain in my neck, or she's a pain in my neck.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, it's a persistent, lingering, or troublesome and continuous.
All right, so let's take a look at this now. A nagging husband or wife is someone who grudges up issues or unresolved conflicts from the past, or repeats questions as not so subtle way of a reminder their spouse to do something. You might be a nagging spouse if you create feelings of insecurity, resentment, or anger over time. Listening skills. Why?
It's funny how you just said that is either a husband or wife who dredges up issues of unresolved, and they continue repeating and repeating and repeating it. And I just want to go backtrack to what we were just discussing about how do you deal with a nagging person? Because a nagging person could be a husband, a wife, or a parent, or a boss. And how do we handle a nagging partner? There are 4 points that you can help us how to handle a nagging partner, and that could be identify the reason why the person is nagging, because they're repeating something. So try to identify what's the reason. The other thing, be mindful of the way you respond. When that person is nagging, be mindful of your own behavior, how you respond to the person who's nagging. And also listen only until you can, because if you continue just repeating and repeating, sometimes you just have to set boundaries and say, okay, you know what? I've listened now. I need some time off. Or also talk about it like adults. In times like this, be an understanding partner, but also draw a boundary to the things you cannot take anymore. The best way to address it is find a time solution to the problem instead of being nagged all the time. Be intentional to resolve issues that moment and both agree to let the issue go and not bring it up again.
That's called maturity.
Yeah.
Let's go. Listening skills, reason why a person might get to this level of communication. If you look at the first illustration here, the first picture, she is talking to her husband, and she is talking with a fist balled up, and he has his hands over his ears. Maybe feeling unheard. She may be feeling unheard, or feeling unvalidated, or feeling your opinion doesn't count, or there may be a struggle in that relationship, or there may be unresolved anger issues that wasn't resolved.
Yeah, because if you look at the woman, like you said, her hands are really
clenched,
and she's angry, and like you said, it could be a power struggle. Like, who's gonna win if I have a tantrum and maybe I'll get my way, or it could be like she could be at a level of, oh my God, I'm feeling unvalidated, I'm not listening, I'm feeling unheard. So it could be just like tons and tons of things that are inside that she gets to that level.
Yeah, she was holding it in.
Yeah, we don't know.
And let's look at the last example where it said learned behavior generational. All right, and let's look at those illustrations. All right, you have two men. So let's assume the two men is father and son. So the father is negatively communicating to the son. So the son turn around is negatively communicating with his wife. The wife is turning around and negatively communicating to the daughter. And now the daughter is turning around and practicing negative communication on the doll.
And it definitely is learned behavior and generational, as you see in the illustration. As Jerry just said, it goes from one person to the other, so we learn it. So it's just like, is it a nagging? Is nagging a learned behavior? I would say yes, because even child nagging is a learned behavior that children learn at any age can pick up. For instance, a child will continue to use it because maybe once in the moment when the parent is feeling like worn out and weak and tired of the child asking, the parent will cave in, let them stay up for half an hour, and for the eighth time, just to not, oh, I can't take it anymore, they actually just let them have their way. But what nagging also does to the brain, taken together, the studies demonstrate that overly critical parenting has unintended negative effects on children's brain. Nagging shuts down wide wealth of kids' brains, which can be emotionally painful and cause a child to disengage from the world around them. So you know what? Nagging has a lot of negative effects.
Yes, it does.
And also, nagging has a severe effect on the person, because when nagging is constantly happening to that person, they could start developing self-doubt, start feeling unworthy and not good enough because of what they have been hearing about themselves.
We all could put ourselves in that situation. We know how that feels.
Yeah, nagging is very toxic.
What can we do to come back or turn this behavior around?
Well, in conclusion, I think...
Well, we could do active listening skills, all right? And that would be skills of listening to the person to understand what they're saying. We could try mirroring, all right, and repeating back what the person is saying for validation. And to take it a step further, we could ask them, is there anything that I missed while we're repeating it back? So that way we know that to the hearer and to the speaker that they both are understanding what they're saying to one another.
And I think it's also will be mindful to know that even though, let's say, if I'm nagging and I'm so upset and I'm constantly just repeating, I should also be more mindful of my behavior, how it's affecting you. Because even the teaching in itself, now that we know and we learn that nagging is very toxic, nagging is an act of the sinful nature.
Yes.
And so even though we do not we're also trying to, we're mirroring and listening, you're empathizing with what the person is saying, but at the same time, it doesn't excuse the behavior of the nagger who's causing a lot of damage. So we learn more about, instead of excusing our behavior and saying that's the way I am, or I'm mad,
Right.
or this is the only way you're gonna listen.
Yes.
No, we have to take accountability for our actions and realize that nagging is a destructive, negative behavior.
Okay.
And
in conclusion, as it says here, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord.
because we know that God is a God of relationships, and when He brings spouses together, or whether He brings families together, it's all about communication, and it's all about healthy communication.
Healthy communication.
And communication so that we could build one another, and so that we could understand one another, and so that we could have that unity with one another. But when we have all these destructive communication patterns, it does take away from that. Instead of the man reading that scripture saying, I find a good wife, because that's a favor, finds favor, it's a good thing. The enemy just comes and he turns everything around.
Okay. God bless everyone. And thank you for listening to another Nuggets of Hope.
God bless.
God bless.
Thank you for joining us in this week's Nuggets of Hope. We hope you continue to join us, and we hope that you are blessed by each teaching. You can join us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. God bless you.